You absolutely cannot talk underrated 80s bands without throwing Tesla into the mix. They occupy that rare space, underrated by the casual audience, but wholly celebrated by those that are really serious about their 80s rock. In the vernacular, they are the thinking man's heavy metal band. Well, I'm thinking that this music is pretty sick, man.
Oh, hell no, man.
What are you doing? You said you wouldn't do that.
It's not that bad.
That's really lame.
It's not really an issue. All right, we'll cut to the title. Tesla never really fit into the glam metal mold, which, to be fair, probably confused a lot of people. They didn't have the massive blowout hair, neon spandex, nor the outfits and makeup borrowed from their girlfriends. They just showed up in denim, plugged in, and absolutely played. While most of the LA scene was trying to out-pretty each other, these guys were quietly concocting the perfect high IQ sound. And leading that charge was Frank Hannon, part bluesman, part cowboy, part tone scholar, part guy who's secretly better than your favorite shredder. So what's the story with Frank? Back in '82, bassist Brian Wheat was jamming with a garage group called Rage when he had heard rumblings of a local hotshot guitarist named Frank Hannon. Despite being 3 years younger than 18-year-old Wheat, Hannon was invited to join. Afterwards, Wheat exclaimed, "I thought Frank had been touched by God," so everybody got fired and we started a whole new band. They initially called themselves Earthshaker, a cool nod to their admiration of a Y&T album. Another great sleeper band of the 80s that I'd actually love to cover in another video. Soon after, they switched names to City Kid, which honestly kind of sounds like a modern-day K-pop group. Thankfully, they later upgraded to Tesla, a name that stuck and would go on to define their unique place in rock history. Looking at Frank musically, he's not only a guitar man, he dabbles with piano, organ, bass, mandolin, flute, harmonica, and can probably fix your vintage amp with just a screwdriver.
He's that kind of guy. Probably could run a whole music and art center by himself.
According to Tesla's official site, Hannon appreciates horses, walking, and biking. Hannon's dislikes are assholes, liver, thieves, and tax season. And he doesn't just live in a world of music, he literally married it. His wife is Christy Betts. That's right, as in the daughter of Allman Brothers' Dickie Betts. Not too long ago, he actually shared a story on Guitar World where he was getting ready to jam with Dickie at his house and asked if he could borrow the SG that was sitting across the room. Dickie paused and said, "That's not the good one. Go in the bedroom and grab the good one." And just like that, Hannon was handed the prototype of Betts' famous From One Brother to Another SG.
Looking at Hannon's playing, he's one of those guys that hones in on that simple yet deceptive style. He has all the chops, just rarely flexes them. And his tone sits right in the sweet spot. He uses a moderate overdrive that lets every note breathe, does careful bends, and this subtle minor to major interplay that really sneaks up on you.
Listen closely and you'll hear what makes Tesla so distinct. Those open chord voicings, Frank's Gibson SG giving it that heavy yet almost 70s-ish tone, an occasional 12-string faintly layered over that, Tommy or Dave joining in on guitar harmonies, Troy Laketta's drumming sitting just behind the beat, giving everything that laid-back swagger, with either those rattling hi-hats or ride cutting through the mix. Meanwhile, Brian usually locks into a basic groove on bass, looping it to build that low-end tension, and Jeff Keith's powerful vocals packaging it all together.
They've got a lot more range than that too. Plenty of great ballads, even heavier stuff. But that right there, that groove, that is the Tesla trademark.
Hannon's tone sits somewhere between gritty blues bar and stadium clarity. As I hinted at earlier, his main partner is a Gibson SG Standard, a fantastic workhorse guitar that you really didn't see too often in that era outside of maybe AC/DC or Sabbath. He's also pulled out Gibson EDS 1275 double necks, Les Pauls, ES 335s, and Flying V's over the years. And cool story, in 2020, Gibson's CEO, Cesar Gawakian, told Frank they played Tesla's Love Song at their wedding, which then inspired his Gibson signature acoustic, the Love Dove. Behind the guitars, he's typically running through high-watt custom 100s, a Marshall JVM 410H, and/or an ADA MP1 preamp. For pedals, he frequents a few for light layering, a Zvex Octane 3 fuzz, Boss delay, and a Phase 90. Let's take a look at one of Frank's solos that doesn't always get the same attention as his big hits. You know, Love Song, Modern Day Cowboy, the usual suspects. Be a Man on the Great Radio Controversy really shows off that classic Hannon lead work. Now, Frank can absolutely rip. Take Don't De-Rock Me, for example. Or Cover Queen. Both impressive in their own right. Everyone loves a good face melter over a driving rock beat, but I'm here for this. That slightly slower paced, defined solo that really feeds off the energy of the backing riff. He does a great job of knowing when to not fill the space. And it's a hard thing to do. I personally struggle with it all the time. My brain's always like, you sure you don't want to squeeze 6 more notes in there?
Let's see if we can recreate it.
Frank is one of those players that never really stopped creating. Solo albums, jam projects, you name it. He put out Guitars from Mars, formed a band called Moondog Main, and released a killer instrumental record called Reflections, which he literally tracked raw, sometimes straight to his phone. Proof you don't need like 200 plugins to sound inspired. And over the years, he's played with everyone from Dickie Betts and Pat Travers to Night Ranger and Leonard Skinner. Basically, a walking jam session in human form. And yeah, Tesla's still going strong. These days he's joined by Dave Rude, who's an absolutely insane player in his own right. He nails all the guitar parts and fits right in, which is no small feat.
So next time someone tells you that the 80s were all glam and glitter, tell them to go listen to Tesla. And to subscribe and go check the description below for more great resources on them.